Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Can you all hear me and see the screen properly and clearly for everybody? Yes? Yes. So let's get started with the super amazing session number 4 on flower and Aestivation, morphology of flowering plants. What happened? Nobody else is there. I have told in the morning session itself, right? Class will be held at 2:15. Yes, let's anyway get started slowly. Let the others join. Those who are watching the session right now, don't forget to hit the like button, do share it with your friends, and subscribe the amazing platform for more updates on biology. So this was the schedule. 2:15 p.m. you will have the morphology class, and one more schedule is remaining. That is at 8 p.m. You will have the telegram quiz, cell cycle, and cell division up to mitosis. Yes, this is something which I promised to show you for today's class, right? Guys, in some leguminous plants, you have the swollen leaf base, right? A swollen leaf base. So that swollen leaf base, you will call them as what? Pulvinus. So this is the diagram for a pulvinus. Pulvinus or the swollen leaf base. Yes, exactly like that. We have yesterday studied this also. That is, world phyllotaxy is seen in Alstonia. World phyllotaxy is seen in Alstonia. So look how from a common point so many kind of leaves are arranged, right? From one point so many kinds of leaf are arising, right? That is why you will call them as the world phyllotaxy. Next is a racemose inflorescence. What do you mean by racemose inflorescence? The older flowers are at the base. Okay, the older flowers are at the base. And look, the younger flowers are at the tip. These all are the younger flowers. What you will call these kinds of arrangement, guys, on the chat box? Everybody tell me. You will call them as what type of arrangement? The older flowers at the base, the younger flowers are the apex. Very good. You will call them as the acropetal succession. So acropetal succession is seen in the racemose inflorescence. Done. Done. So this is an example for a inflorescence. Yes, I think there is a small audio in between, right? But I think right now it's okay. Is it? We will refresh the page. Can you all hear me properly now? Can you all hear me properly? Yes, just tell me, everybody. Am I audible right now for every one of you? Yes? Please just tell me. Yes. So let's continue with today's session. Yes. So guys, this is the cymose inflorescence. Just look at the difference. Cymose inflorescence means the younger flowers are at the base. Look, the younger flowers are at the base. And the mature flower are at the top. So this type of arrangement, that is a basipetal. Okay, a basipetal arrangement of flower, you will call them as what? Cymose inflorescence. Done, everybody? So I have shown you the images to make you clear about the cymose inflorescence, then about the racemose inflorescence, alstonia, and the pulvinus. Yes. So let's get started with today's super amazing class, that is the flower. Done? Yes. So let's get started. Yes, the flower is the reproductive unit in angiosperm. It is meant for sexual reproduction. Why? Because it produces the male and female gamete, right? A typical flower has four different kinds of whorls which are arranged successively on a swollen end of the stalk or pedicel called thalamus or receptacle. Okay, so guys, the four whorls of a flower, that is the calyx, the corolla, anthrecium, and gynoecium, these are arranged on the thalamus or receptacle. Done? Give me hearts on the screen, everybody. Give me hearts on the screen. The flower is the reproductive unit. It is meant for sexual reproduction. And there are four main whorls. There are four main whorls. There are four main whorls of a flower. That is the calyx, corolla, anthrecium, and gynoecium. These are the four main whorls of a flower. Whorl means four parts of a flower. Okay, four different parts of a flower. That is, there is a calyx is there, corolla is there, anthrecium is there, gynoecium is there. These are arranged, these four different parts, they are arranged on a thalamus or a receptacle. Okay, they are arranged on a thalamus or a receptacle. You know that the calyx and corolla are the accessory organ, and andrecium and gynoecium are the reproductive organ. Okay, andrecium is the male reproductive structure of a flower and gynoecium is the female reproductive structure of a flower. So guys, do you know what is a calyx and what is a corolla? Do you know what is a calyx and what is a corolla? Yes. So guys, this red color region which I'm drawing right now, okay, this leaf-like structure that supports the flower during its bud stage, you will call them as the sepals. Okay, you will call them as the sepals. Okay, you will call them as the sepal. These sepals protect the flower bud while it is developing. And this brightly colored region, the brightly colored region, you will call them as the petals, and they attract the pollinators like bees and butterflies for the process of pollination. We have already studied that the stalk of a flower will be called as the pedicel. Okay, so a stalk of a flower, you will call them as the pedicel. Can any one of you just tell me what do you call the stalk of a leaf? In yesterday's class, we learned about it. Stalk of a leaf. What is the biological term for the stalk of the leaf? Absolutely, it is the pedicel. The stalk of a leaf is the pedicel and the stalk of a flower is the petiole. Sorry, sorry. I also just went. Yes, the stalk of, just let me erase everything and tell right from the beginning, right? So the stalk of a leaf you will call them as petiole. Stalk of a leaf is the petiole and stalk of a flower is the pedicel. Done. Even I was too taken. Okay. Now is it clear? Yes. So guys, this is the male reproductive structure. This male reproductive structure is known as the stamen. Okay, the male reproductive structure is known as the stamen. And it is composed of two different parts. That is, an anther is there and a filament is there. Okay, this bilobed, long, slender structure. This is anther and this is the filament. Clear? And pistil or gynoecium is the female reproductive part of a flower. It is composed of the stigma, style, ovary, and the ovule. That is this structure. Clear? Clear, everybody? Yes. So the calyx and corolla are at the accessory organs, while the andrecium and gynoecium are the reproductive structure. Whereas in some plants, such as the water lily, the sepals and petals, that is the calyx and corolla, both of them are not separated. They are fused together. They are fused together. Can you all hear me right now? Can you all hear me right now properly and clearly, everybody? This network, whenever we are teaching an important concept in between, it's too irritating. Yes, anyway, we have to continue with the class. So guys, in flowers of water lily, the petals and sepals are not separated. These calyx and corolla, they are fused. Such a condition you will call them as the perianth. And the individual unit of perianth you will call them as the tepals. Okay. The individual unit of perianth you will call them as the tepals. Just like sepals and petals, when the calyx and corolla are fused together, you will call them as what? Tepals. And you know this also, when a flower has both androecium and gynoecium in a single plant, you will call them as a bisexual plant. And if a flower has only stamen or carpel, you will call them as unisexual plant. That is, if a flower has only the male reproductive part, that would be a male plant. So such a plant is known as staminate. Staminate. And if a plant has only the female reproductive part, you will call them as what? Pistillate. Clear? And bisexual condition means both male and female structure are present on the single plant. Give me hearts on the screen, everybody. Come on. If this is clear and super amazing for each one of you, if you have got the concept of perianth, tepals, bisexual, unisexual, staminate and pistillate flowers. Yes. This you might have studied in the reproduction chapter, right? So this is the structure of a flower. Okay. Let's move on. Symmetry of flowers. Next is the symmetry of flowers. The flower may have an actinomorphic or a zygomorphic symmetry. Guys, in animal kingdom, we studied about the radial symmetry, bilateral symmetry and all. So in flower, if the flower is showing a radial symmetry, you will call such plants as actinomorphic flowers. And if a flower is showing a bilateral symmetry, you will call them as the zygomorphic. What do you mean by radial symmetry? If this is a flower, this flower can be divided into two equal halves through any plane. And what do you mean by a bilateral symmetry? If this is a flower, they can be divided into two equal halves through only one vertical plane, right? In a one particular vertical plane. So this kind of a symmetry, you will call them as the bilateral symmetry, and this is the radial symmetry. Are you remembering that? Are you remembering that? Yes. So that is the radial symmetry will be actinomorphic and bilateral symmetry would be zygomorphic. So listen very carefully. When a flower is divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane passing through the center, it is said to be actinomorphic. Example, mustard, datura and chili. So guys, very important examples. Previous year repeated question. Okay, actinomorphic flower means when a flower is divided into two equal halves through only one radial plane. Such a kind of a flower you will call them as the actinomorphic flower, and the example is mustard, datura and chili. And like that, when a flower is divided into two similar halves only in one particular vertical plane, it is called bilateral symmetry or zygomorphic flower. Example, pea, gulmohar, cassia and bean. Okay, what is it? Pea, gulmohar, bean and cassia. Examples are very important. Okay, take a sheet of paper, make an example like taproot, write the examples. Fibrous root, write the examples. Okay, follow NCRT to make such a note. And certain flowers like canna, I think I have shared, right? I have shared. Absolutely, I have cleared. Clearly, I have shared the image of canna in a Telegram group. So a flower is said to be asymmetric or irregular. Just come that or take that flower into your mind. It is an irregular flower. It cannot be divided into two equal halves. So such kind of a flower, you will call them as the asymmetric flower. Look. This is a flower. This is a radially symmetrical flower. This flower is radially symmetrical, because they can be divided into two or more equal halves through any plane, whereas this is a zygomorphic or a bilateral. because they can be divided into only one part. You will have the quiz today. You will have the quiz today at the end of the session based on yesterday's and today's class. So the examples are super important for the quiz as well. Actinomorphic, mustard, datura and chili. P. gulmohar, bean and cassia. Zygomorphic, asymmetric flower is seen in canna. Done. Let me check. Yes, we have so much. Anyway, let's move forward. Right? Yes. So, guys, a flower may be trimerous. That is a number of sepals and tepals. Maybe number of sepals and petals may be 3. So it may be trimerous, or they may be tetramerous, 4 in number, or they may be pentamerous, as in hibiscus and all. Pentamerous. So 5 floral walls will be there. Okay, 3, 4 and 5 respectively. And look guys, this is a bract, reduced leaf. Okay, reduced leaf, a bract. This is not a sepal. Okay, this is not a sepal. Sepal is attached with the flower. Sepal is attached with the flower. Bract are reduced leaf-like structures. So flowers with the bracts are reduced leaf found at the base of the pedicel are called bractate flowers, and those flowers or those plants without bract you will call them as the abractate condition. Clear? Okay, so that is the difference between a bractate and an abractate flower. Clear everybody? So I hope you might have got the point about the floral walls. Just give me hearts on the screen if the 3 concepts are clear. Okay, first is sepal. What is sepal? What is petals? Second, what is a floral wall? Third one, bractate and abractate condition. Yes? Perfecto. Let's move on. Yes? Before that, I will show you the image. Okay. Guys, based on the position of the ovary. Okay. Based on the position of the ovary with respect to ovary or the gynoecium. Okay. Based on the position of the ovary or gynoecium with respect to the sepal, with respect to the petal, with respect to the androecium, the flowers can be divided into 3 different types. Okay, flowers can be differentiated into 3 different types. Okay, based on the position of calyx, corolla and androecium in respect to the position of ovary on thalamus, flowers are described or categorized as 3 types: hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous. Hypo, peri and epigynous. Done? So we are going to tell you first of all what is this hypo, epi and perigynous condition. Look guys, this is the ovary. I hope you can clearly see the red color. Okay, this is the ovary, whereas this is the sepal, this is the petal and this is the androecium, right? So all the other floral walls are originating below that. I will zoom it for you. Look guys, this is the ovary and you will find that sepals, the petals and the androecium all originating below that. This kind of a condition where you can find a superior ovary. Superior ovary where all other floral walls are below that, or the gynoecium occupies the topmost position. Such kind of a condition is known as hypogynous. Hypogynous, is it clear? Hypogynous condition, is it clear? Yes. Look at the second case. The gynoecium is half inferior, right? The gynoecium is half inferior. Look, half it is just on the rim of the thalamus. Just on the rim of the thalamus. Right? So, if you can find a half inferior ovary, if you can find a half inferior ovary, look, this is the ovary, you will find like this, half inferior. So such kinds of a condition, you will call them as the perigynous condition. And finally, what you will, whole ovary is below. Whole ovary is below. Such kind of a condition, you will call them as the epigynous condition. Let's anyway detail it. Okay, so there are three positions based on the position of gynoecium with respect to the other floral walls. The first one is hypogynous, second one is perigynous, and third one is epigynous. Hypogynous flower means the gynoecium occupies the highest position. Okay, gynoecium occupies the topmost position and all other floral walls are situated below it. The ovary is said to be a superior ovary. Example, mustard, China rose, and brinjal. Mustard, China rose, and brinjal. Done, everybody? Yes. If the gynoecium is situated in the center and all other floral walls and are on the rim of the thalamus, you will call them as the perigynous condition. Ovary is said to be half inferior. Example is PRP, that is plum, rose, and peach. What you will call them as PRP. Plum, rose, and peach. Done. Here you can write it as MCB. Mustard, China rose, and brinjal are examples of hypogynous condition. And finally, it is the epigynous condition. Here, what happens is the inferior ovary. It is the inferior ovary, as you can see in the flowers of guava and cucumber and ray florets of sunflower. Ray florets of sunflower, NEET 2020 question. Ray florets of sunflower shows what type of symmetry it is the, what type of gynoecium position. It is the perigynous, it is the epigynous condition or the inferior ovary. Done? Guys, please do respond. Please do respond. Have you understood these concepts of hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous? Do I need to repeat it again? Then you please just tell me. Abhijit, is it clear? I cannot find your charts. Yes? I think Abhijit is not here. Yes. Next is the parts of a flower in detail. Yes. So parts of a flower, calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Listen along with me, otherwise you won't get the point in detail. First is the calyx, which is a green, the outermost wall of a flower, and the individual units of a flower is known as the sepal. Okay, calyx is the green outermost wall, and the individual unit of a calyx you will call them as the sepals. Look, this green colored portion, which protects the flower during its bud stage. Okay, that is the sepals. Generally, the sepals are green, leaf-like structure and protect the flower in its bud stage. Okay, protect the flower in its bud stage. And guys, in certain plants, the calyx might be united. That condition is known as gamosepalous. Whereas the sepals may be free in certain plants. Such a condition you will call them as the polysepalous condition. Look in the diagram, everybody. Sepals are fused. So diagram number 1, which is shown over here, it is the gamosepalous. Look, the sepals are free. So diagram number 2 shown over here, sepals are free. Give me thumbs up on the chat box if it's clear. So if the sepals are united, you will call them as the gamosepalous condition. And if the sepals are free, you will call them as the polysepalous condition. Okay, polysepalous condition. Next is the corolla. Corolla is composed of individual units known as petals. They are usually brightly colored. They are usually brightly colored to attract the insect for pollination. Yes. Yes, in hibiscus you will find gamosepalous condition. The sepals are fused. Yes, yes. In hibiscus China rose you will find gamosepalous. Okay. So guys, after this chapter, whatever plant you see around, you have to investigate what is the venation, what is the phenotaxy, what is the inflorescence. Is it a racemose or a cymose inflorescence? Is it a gamosepalous? Is it a polysepalous? Gamopetal? You have to understand. Okay. Just don't waste your time in just understanding each and every plant around you. Just when you see a plant, being a biology student, you have to just examine that. Okay. So in certain plants, the corolla are united or the corolla are fused. They are called gamopetalous. And if the petals are free, you will call them as the polypetalous condition. Look, the petals are fused. Right? The petals are fused. Look, the petals are free. Right? That is a polypetalous condition. The shape of corolla may vary greatly in one plant to another because, guys, in the last plant, which look a bell shaped, right? This, okay, this is a plant where you can have a bell shaped flower. This is an open shaped tubular flower is there, bell shaped flower is there, funnel shaped, wheel shaped flower is there. Look, this is an example. This is like a wheel, right? A wheel like flower. So that's it. And guys, our next super important topic is the Aestivation. Okay, our next topic is the Aestivation. Okay, first of all, let me tell you what is an Aestivation. Okay, first of all, let me tell you what is an Aestivation. It is a mode of arrangement of, it is the mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in a floral bud. Okay. Mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in a floral bud is known as aestivation. How a flower is formed. Okay, how a flower is formed. The mode of arrangement of sepals and petals. So based on the arrangement of the sepals and petals, aestivation can be mainly categorized into 4. Valvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary aestivation. What do you mean by valvate aestivation? Look, how is it arranged? The sepals and petals are arranged in a way such that it touches the margin only. It touches the margin only. Just like this. It's not overlapping. No overlapping in valvate aestivation. No overlapping. So those plants which shows a valvate aestivation, their flower will be like this in their view. Okay, you cannot just very simply just see out very clearly, but we have to study it by heart, the examples. Okay, anyway, we will discuss one by one. Okay, So let's start with the valvate estivation. Okay, when the sepals or petals in a wall, when the sepals or petals in a wall just touch one another, without overlapping. Is them overlapping? No, as in the calotropis. What is calotropis? This is calotropis. Have you seen this calotropis flower? Have you seen this calotropis flower? Yes. So in calotropis flower, the sepals and petals are arranged just one another at the margin without overlapping. Binay, haven't you not seen the flower? Calotropis flower? It's not orchid, my dear. It's not orchid. You'll call them as erica. Right? So such kind of a estivation you will call them as valvate estivation. Have you heard about the flower? Okay, yes. Maybe not common in our home, right? In temples, by beside the temple and all, you will find. That's why. No issues. So, if the arrangement, both this, any way they can ask you the question, either by giving you the statements like this. When sepals or petals in a flower just touches, okay, they can just simply ask you a question like, when the sepals or petals in a wall just touches one another without overlapping as seen in which flower? So the answer is calotropis. Or they can ask you a question, calotropis show which type of estivation? At that time the answer is valvate estivation. Or they can give you the diagram and ask you. Clear? Or they can ask you a diagram and they can, okay. Done. Next is the twisted estivation. Next is a twisted estivation. If one margin of the appendage overlaps the other, okay, overlaps the other, as in the China rose, lady's finger, and cotton. Look, it will be overlapping. This diagram is important for you to draw in your board exam. Okay, it will be overlapping the each other as in China rose. This is the China rose or the hibiscus. Lady's finger flower. Sorry, this is the lady's finger flower and this is the cotton flower. Clear? Guys, if we conduct the quiz, will you be ready to join for the quiz? Only two, I think, in the class. I think only two are there in the class. Okay. Will you be able to join, guys? Okay. So after two slides, we will move on to the quiz for the day. Okay. And next, third one is the Imprecate estivation. Look, they will be overlapping each other, but not in a specific direction. Look, there won't be any specific direction. But when you check on the other last diagram, you will have a particular setting over here, that is outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, and outside and inside. But here for the Imprecate estivation, inside, 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 outside, 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 inside, outside, outside, inside, right? There is no specific arrangement or no direction of arrangement. So if the margin of sepals or petals overlap one another but not in any particular direction, as in cassia and gulmohar, cassia common flower which you use for the vishu and all, yes, and this is the gulmohar flower, yes. So this is an example for an imbricate aestivation. Done, everybody? Done, everybody? Yes? Yes. Next, we have one more aestivation to study, that is a vexillary aestivation. In pea and bean flower, there are 5 important petals. There are 5 petals. One petal would be large. Okay. There would be 5 petals and okay, and one of the petal would be large. Okay. So one of the petal would be large. So that large petal you will call them as the standard petal, which overlap 2 other petals which are known as the wing petal. 2 lateral petal, which is the wing petals, which in turn overlap 2 smallest anterior petals called the keel. The name of this petal is the keel. This type of aestivation is known as vexillary aestivation. Here you will definitely find a similarity in this diagram. You will find a similarity in this diagram with this as well as with this. Am I right? Look, standard petal, wing petals, and below that you will find the keel, right? So you can definitely pluck out the petals, okay? Pluck out the petals of these flowers. These all are coming under the vexillary aestivation. Done? Okay. And one more small thing which I'll be telling you right now itself, that is androecium is composed of stamen, and each stamen represents the male reproductive organ. Okay, each stamen represents the male reproductive organ. Okay, so male reproductive organ. It consists of a stalk or a filament and an anther. You know that each anther is bilobed in nature and it contains pollen sac. The pollen grains are produced in the pollen sac. I told you a sterile stamen is called staminode. Look, the stamen will be just simply like this. There would be no pollen grain. What do you mean by a sterile stamen? What do you mean by a sterile stamen? That stamen will not be able to produce pollen grain, just simply a structure like this. Whereas these are the pollen grain, right? These are the pollen grain. Done, everybody? Do you need me to repeat any of the point once again? Yes? From this slide onwards, we would continue in the next class. Okay, these 2 slides are there, which I will continue from here on the next class. Okay, right now you can join with me for the quiz. Today's quiz is not going to take place in the Menti. Today's quiz is on the Slido. Okay. You have to go to slido.com and use the code 847709. Yes? You have to go to Google just like how you use the Menti. Go to slido.com and you can enter the special code 847709. Activating the quiz and everybody can join. Yes, I think only very few people are there. So you guys right now join into the quiz. Okay. Yes. Yes. I think everybody have joined. We will start the quiz right now. We will start the quiz right now. Go to slido.com and you can enter the special code 847709 will be the special code. Yes? Done. Can we start the quiz? Starting the quiz in 3, starting in 2, starting in 1, and your first question is right now on your screen. Which of the following pairs possess similar phyllotaxy? Which of the following plants possess similar phyllotaxy? Yes, very good. The correct answer for the question is mustard and China rose. Go to slido.com and use the code 847709. 847709. Done? Moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 right now on your screen. Arrangement of leaves on a stem is called. Arrangement of leaves on a stem is called inflorescence, aestivation, venation, none of these. Yes? Arrangement of leaf on a stem is called. It's none of these. Arrangement of leaf on a stem is phyllotaxy. It's not aestivation. What do you mean by aestivation? Aestivation is the arrangement of floral walls, right? Moving on to question number 3. If the leaflets are attached to a common point, the leaf is said to be whorled, opposite, palmately compound. Right? Yes, if the leaves are attached to a common point, you will call them as what? You will call them as the palmately compound leaf. It's not the leaf. If it was the leaf attached to a common point, it would be whorled phyllotaxy. Since the leaflets are attached to a common point, it would be palmately compound leaf. Question number 4. If the gynoecium is at the topmost position, of the thalamus, then the flower is said to be hypogynous, perigynous, epigynous, none of these. Very good. This is what we have discussed in today's class. Absolutely very good, guys. Moving on to question number 5. In Canna, the flowers are actinomorphic, zygomorphic, asymmetric, absent. Speciality of the flower in Canna. Actinomorphic, zygomorphic, asymmetric, and absent. Yes, absolutely. Very good. Asymmetric flowers. We have studied it. Last and final question for the day. In a flower, within a walls and sepals and petals touch each other at the margin without overlapping, such a flower is known as Cassia gulmohar P and Calotropis. Such a flower, example of such a flower. Cassia gulmohar P and Calotropis. Very good. It is the Calotropis. Right? So let's move on to the leaderboard for the day and let's end today's class. So the first is Anantu, followed by Akhil, Amitav BioPoint student, Anubama, Anu, and Binaya. What happened to Binaya? Only one question, I think maybe a network issue. Is it a network issue? Yes. So that's the end of today's session. Okay, very good, Akhil. Got the question correctly. So bye bye guys. See you tomorrow with a brand new session. Bye bye.